It's big dog season, and you can't stay still because you want it. Talk that talk, George. You still scraping your plate because you're hungry. Talk that talk.
A new experimental drug tonight shows some positive results for treating cannabis addiction. And you may be thinking, well, wait a second, what even is cannabis addiction? How do you do that in the first place? Because oftentimes people think, well, that's not really something that happens with pot. Well, there sure is such thing as cannabis addiction, and experts say there's a need to do something about it because 14 million Americans struggle with what's called cannabis use disorder in 2021, according to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. This comes at a time when 23 states, plus D.C. and Guam, have legalized recreational cannabis, making it more widely available. Dr. Akshay Sayal is joining us now. So let me first start. Let's set aside the cannabis addiction piece. Let's start with this drug. Why is it so promising? Why are we even talking about this new drug in the first place?
Yeah, so Hallie, did you know there are no FDA-approved treatments for cannabis use disorder right now? A disorder that's affecting 14 million people across the country, and there's really no effective treatments for it. And so that's what makes it so exciting. And the reason it's promising, Hallie, is because, the reason we don't have, or part of the reason we don't have a treatment for this is because previous drugs that we've tried, when you try to block the way cannabis or marijuana works in the brain, it can lead to nasty side effects like mood disorders and even suicidal ideation, meaning thoughts of suicide. And so what makes this drug so different is that it can actually go to that receptor, and instead of totally blocking it, it can just tweak it a little bit. So it can prevent you from getting high, avoiding those nasty side effects that have made this such a difficult disorder to treat in the past.
So that's the drug. What about the addiction piece itself? Because it seems like there's sometimes this stereotype, like, well, you can't get addicted to weed. Like, that's not a thing that happens. It actually is a thing that happens.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Contrary to popular belief, you can actually develop an addiction to marijuana. This is something that, anywhere from 10 to 30% of people who use marijuana develop a cannabis use disorder, a marijuana use disorder. And so what do we mean by that? The key really here is when you're using so much marijuana that it's starting to interfere with your life in terms of, you're struggling with work and school, you're having trouble maintaining relationships, you're giving up things that you used to do, maybe some hobbies like you used to play an instrument or play a sport that you're not just finding you can't do anymore because you're needing to keep going back and back to that cannabis, and that's when it becomes a problem, Hallie.
Can you talk through the legalization aspect here, right? Because there are substances, like, for example, there is such thing as alcohol abuse, and alcohol is legal. It is a legal substance to be sold, right? So in other words, something that has a potential to be abused doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be legalized. Where does that discussion stand in the medical community?
Yeah, I think most people that I've talked to in the medical community, they're pretty for legalization. I think the caveat here is we need to be smart about this, and we need to do this in a proper way. And I'll give you an example. When you go to a liquor store to buy a bottle of wine or whiskey, you can see the percent of alcohol that's in the bottle, whether it's 40% in spirits or 10 to 15 with wine. With marijuana, we don't really have any regulation like that. And what we're seeing over the decades is that the marijuana that our kids are using today is not what their parents were smoking. It's way more potent, and that can lead to more addiction and more mental health effects.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
Today is Saturday. It is September 21st. The year is 2024. I was running around getting things prepared for my new business venture. This morning, the past few days, I've been busy doing all this stuff. Several of my nephews are have an addiction, marijuana addiction. This is a huge problem with my nephews. They all have something to do with abusing marijuana. And I think a lot of people are taking this whole marijuana crisis very lightly. And people seem to think that smoking marijuana is, they don't see how dangerous or destructive smoking marijuana can be. They say marijuana is now 50 times stronger than it was 20 years ago. My sisters encouraged their boys to smoke marijuana. They said that it was okay. These boys were probably 13, 14 years of age, maybe 15. And my sisters encouraged them. We smoked marijuana in high school. They can smoke marijuana. Well, my mother and father did not allow us to smoke cigarettes or marijuana when we were living at home in high school. So I don't know where she got that information from. So for me, when I hear this type of comment from my sister, she made this comment several times. I always ask her, no one was allowing you all to smoke marijuana as children. Now, if you snuck off and smoked marijuana, you did it on your own. But you most certainly were not sitting up in mom and daddy's house back in Gary, Indiana, smoking marijuana. But they allowed these boys and encouraged them to smoke marijuana. Flash forward to 2024. These boys are unemployed. They don't have cars. They've been evicted from apartments. It's just a horrible city. They don't own houses. Like, they're struggling through everything. I've tried to assist as best I can under the circumstances. What more do y'all want? I have literally co-signed cards for them. They didn't pay for them. Helped them get apartments. They didn't pay for them. Added to my credit cards. They didn't pay for them. For me, I'm having hands off at this point because these people are over 30-some years of age. The problem I have is that these men have children who are going through this eviction process. They live in hotels. It's a bad scenario. And I was just like, I don't know what more to do or say. And then, of course, people say, well, let them come stay with you. Okay, but they don't live with me because they're going to keep this house clean. They're going to have to go to work. They're going to have to get reliable transportation and pay for it. They're going to have to be responsible adults. And they don't want to do that over here. And to be honest with you, somebody's going to show up dead in this household if they come up in here because we're going to get into it over here. So, it ain't going to work over here. It just ain't going to work. So there's no sense in me opening up my door to let these good-for-nothing niggas in here who don't want to do nothing but smoke weed all day. What's the point? The handwriting's on the wall. In my 54 years of walking on planet Earth, I've never been homeless. I've never not had a place to live that I was paying for since I was a teenager. A few times I might have stayed with someone who was very temporarily, and I paid the whole rent. I just said, here, pay until I get out of here. Take a rent break. And that was a very short period, a month or two, if that long. So I'm looking out for these spiders out here. They're everywhere. I had to come out and clean all the spider webs out there because I destroyed their homes. So then come back and try to get my ass, try to bite me. I don't know where all these spider webs come from, but I'm about to take a broom and clean all this mess up around here. Today is spider eviction day. It's time for them to be evicted. Enough of this. I don't know what to say about these boys and their scenarios that they're going through. They're all going through it. All my sister's sons are going through it. I don't know what to say. And I talked to these guys. I've given them money. I tried to help them start a business. I've tried to, but the bottom line is none of them want to give up that marijuana. They don't want to give it up. They just refuse to give up that weed. They're going to smoke it and smoke it from sun to sundown. I don't do drugs, y'all. I've never had a desire to do drugs. I don't smoke cigarettes. I've never had a desire to do cigarettes. I don't want it for me. I don't get no kick out of marijuana. I've never even smoked marijuana. I tried the edible a couple times. Didn't work out for me. At the most, I do a vodka and cranberry. I ain't even had one last night. It was a Friday night. I went upstairs and went to bed and fell asleep. I said I was going to get up and make a drink. Woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, oh, shit, I must have been tired. I did not get my vodka and cranberry on Friday night. I had a friend stop by. He came by late last night. He broke up with his girlfriend of 8 years. This one was violently attacking him. He just got tired of it. He went and got his own place. And I was like, you did the right thing. Don't go back. Because all you're going to do is end up in jail because the police are going to show up and she's going to say that you provoked. I mean, just if you're in a violent situation, I was like, just don't go back. Yeah, you got your own place now. I can tell he was kind of, sometimes you got to move forward in life. I wish somebody had been there to tell me years ago to move forward and move away from certain scenarios and been more push and help me and gave me good advice to go move away from certain scenarios. Yeah, because some of these niggas crazy out here, men and women. But yeah, but this marijuana tobacco that's going on here in the United States, and you can't tell these weed head people nothing. Everybody I know that's smoking weed on a regular basis, their lives are a complete catastrophe and a failure. I don't know nobody who's being productive selling weed. I mean smoking weed. But they ain't making no money selling it either, so yeah, they're not being productive with that either. But I don't know anybody who's constantly smoking weed is doing anything with their life other than, people seem to think that they can smoke this weed. And that was one interesting thing that I learned when working in this house. It had to be about 100 workers coming in and out of this house when I was working on this house. And not one of them Hispanics, not one showed up here smelling like marijuana. Not one. But the minute somebody black showed up, you almost fake going near them. I'm like, wow. So I will say one thing, the marijuana is being flooded into these countries coming in from Mexico and wherever else this marijuana is coming from. The Mexicans ain't using it. They ain't stupid. They're like, we don't need this. Not one of the Mexicans came to my home. Not Latinos, Hispanics came to my house smelling like marijuana. Not one. And when I'm in Home Depot passing guys, none of them smell like marijuana. Were they doing edibles or something? I don't know, but you can still smell a little edible. It has a little odor to it. But everybody I know, that's all these black folks on this weed, it is ridiculous. And a lot of you all seem to think that marijuana is a light drug. But I'm watching it destroy people's lives. I'm watching it with my own two eyeballs. I'm seeing it real time. So those of you that think that smoking marijuana is not going to have any impact in your life, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is I'm seeing it just destroyed a lot of people's lives, and people seem to think that that smoking marijuana is not going to have an impact on your life. You're a damn lie. I've seen it destroy quite a few people's lives. But I'm not going to get into no argument or debate about people with this marijuana. If that's what you want to do, fine, do it. But you can't come around me. Period. I don't want to be around nobody who's constantly smoking weed all day, every day. And that's where the problem comes in. They literally get up in the morning, smoking weed. My sister was living in this basement in this house because she had to leave. I'm glad she got her own place now. The house would be filled with marijuana. The way this house was designed, the air conditioning unit pulls air from the basement and sends it up. The fresh air is pulled. I don't know why it was. They should have altered this because it should have been pulling the air from mainly. It wouldn't matter any damn way because we would never still would have got rid of that marijuana odor. But people would literally come into my house and say, "Oh, somebody lit up in this damn house," and the smell was so strong. And I'd be in bed sleeping, I wake up choking and coughing like, "Okay, what is this girl down here doing?" My whole house smelled like marijuana, and I was all 4 levels. I was like, "Okay, enough." I had just had enough of it. I couldn't take it no more. What is this? So, I learned my lesson about these damn weed smokers. It's a shame that my nephews have allowed this stuff to destroy their lives. It's a shame that my sisters encourage these boys to do this stuff. It's a shame that any parent would encourage their child to do some type of illegal drug. I don't get it. Now they've living in a hotel someplace, been evicted from apartments. I don't know. It's just craziness. I just don't know what to say. Very confused by it all. I don't know. I just don't think it makes sense for somebody to sit around smoking weed all day and expect their lives to be different. Expect their lives to improve. But anyway, today is a beautiful Saturday. It's not too hot out here. I do have the air on in that house. So I was in there. I had to jump up early this morning and run to the bank. It's unfortunate. It used to be you can go to a bank and walk in and take care of business. They don't do that no more. Now you got to make an appointment. It could be a week or two before you can get in and see what you're trying to do. I waited for this appointment for a whole week and a half, and I finally got in there to take care of everything I needed to do inside that bank. It used to be you could just walk in and do that. So no, you have to have an appointment. You got to do this and that. And they make banking so complicated these damn days. Luckily, the guy I made the appointment with remembered me, and he was so helpful. I was able to get a lot of my issues resolved this morning. I'll be there for about an hour. But I got there right. I literally ran out the house so I can get there on time. But banking today is not like it used to. Back in the day, you used to be able to walk into a bank and they'll see you and help you out. They don't. I don't know have you all experiences with banking right now, but they want you to go online and make an appointment and do all this stuff just to get in there and do stuff. So anyway, but it's 1:30. I haven't eaten anything yet. I was taking care of a bunch of stuff. I'm about to make me something to eat. I just want to do this quick video. It is unfortunate them grown-ass men are in the predicament they are in. I helped them pay for that hotel room this last week. I'm not doing that next week. I'm not going to go out here and co-sign for them in my car. I'm not going to go co-sign on an apartment. I'm not doing any of the above. I'm not doing nothing. Y'all got to figure this out. I told them to buy a house years ago. They should have done so. They didn't. Begged them to buy a house. Repeatedly. Go out and buy a house. They were cheaper. Quit paying all this rent. And y'all got these kids. They didn't want to hear nothing I had to say. Nobody wants to hear nothing I have to say. That's why I don't waste my time arguing back and forth with people. Go do you. And figure it out. I can't help you. Because you don't want to hear nothing I got to say any damn way. But sitting around smoking weed all day is not the answer. And that's the problem right there. That smoking weed is not going to resolve your issues. I don't understand this shit. You can't even pass a drug test. What is going on here? But my sisters encourage this foolishness. Figure that one out. But anyway, I'm about to go ahead and give me something to eat today. It's Saturday, September 21st. The year is 2024. I'm out of here. This is a short little video. You all have a great, beautiful Saturday, and I'll speak to you all later.